To change your life in a week, that is, if you really want to change your life in a week, you must move beyond the basics, the ritualistic, self-imposed practices that even self-help prescribes. Yes, you must make a habit of waking up early each day. Yes, you must do your daily exercise. Yes, you must practice journaling, mindful eating, and limiting screen time. But guess what? You aren't changing your life in a week with those cute habits. Why? Because to do that, to change your life in a week, life being the word of importance here, is to do what has taken others their whole lives to accomplish. Life changes when you come to know enough about it. That is to say, when you have enough experience of long years, of lifetimes, and that shit is hard to come by, especially in a week. Then what do we do, right? Well, we do what the Stoics did. We take a shortcut, but a difficult one. After all, it's our life we are talking about. We shift our mindset, we change our perspective, and we do that in a lot of different ways. We start by looking at each day as it comes, removing the emotional clutter that clouds our thinking, and focusing on defining things in their simplest, most objective terms. Then, we use this method of defining things by division to make our actions matter. We take a look at the opposite, at the thing that just can't be divided, and give it our full attention. We embrace change by recognizing the beauty in its constancy. And finally, we learn to focus on what we truly control. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom: to see things clearly, act rationally, and live according to what truly matters. It's this clarity that equips you to change your life in a week. If you appreciate what we're doing, do us a simple, free favor by hitting the subscribe button, and make sure you don't skip any part of the video to get the mindfulness you deserve. This is real talk for tough people, the Stoic way. Don't skip it, don't rush it. Hook those earphones up and let things go. See things clearly. To truly transform yourself in just a week may seem like an impossible task, but Stoicism offers us the tools to make such a profound shift. The key lies in absorbing the wisdom of a lifetime, or even of 1,000 lifetimes, through the lessons Stoic philosophy provides. By learning from the insights of the Stoics, we gain access to the kind of experience that would otherwise take years to acquire. It's not about adding something new to reality, but about seeing reality for what it truly is, stripped of the emotional and subjective layers we tend to place on it. Think about how often we impose our own judgments on things. Whether it's under the influence of societal expectations, our passions, or even ingrained habits, we add meaning to events, objects, and experiences that don't inherently belong to them. This is where Stoicism teaches us to step back and reframe our perceptions. As Marcus Aurelius practiced in his meditations, we are encouraged to see things in their simplest and most objective form, without the value-laden judgments that cloud our perspective. What does this look like in practice? Consider a lavish meal. Most of us would instinctively see it as highly desirable, something that evokes pleasure or excitement, but Stoic wisdom urges us to strip away the emotional significance. Instead of viewing it as a feast of indulgence, see it in its barest terms, the dead body of a fish or boiled vegetables. This is not to be morbid or cynical, but to free ourselves from unnecessary attachment to things that, in their essence, are much simpler than we make them out to be. By defining things in their material form, we prevent our emotions from dictating how we respond to them. This process of seeing things clearly, without the distortions of desire, fear, or cultural significance, is at the heart of Stoic practice. It's a method of philosophical clarity, where we train ourselves to look at things objectively without letting our feelings override our judgment. This allows us to gain rational control over how we respond to external things, whether it's a physical object, an event, or even another person's opinion. The Stoics believed that by breaking things down to their core elements, we could liberate ourselves from the unnecessary emotional weight we tend to carry. It's not the thing itself that troubles us, but how we perceive it. And so, the goal is to practice letting go of these emotional judgments. By doing this, we begin to free ourselves from the desires and fears that often cloud our thinking. This is how we achieve peace of mind, by not being overly influenced by the opinions of others or societal pressures, and by keeping our focus on what truly matters. What's more is that this method can be applied to any aspect of life, including time itself. Instead of being overwhelmed by the thought of transforming your life in a week, Stoicism encourages you to break it down further. Don't think of it as a daunting 7-day challenge. Think of it as a series of individual days. By doing so, you simplify the task ahead, reducing it to manageable parts, much like how the Stoic reduces a luxurious meal to its basic components. This approach of simplifying things is also a powerful antidote to overthinking. When you see things as they are, stripped of emotional baggage and cultural influence, you're less likely to get caught up in anxiety or fear. You stop assigning unnecessary meaning to things and events, which can often lead to stress. If you focus only on the present day rather than worrying about the entire week, you begin to free yourself from the mental clutter that comes with overanalyzing the future. Seneca often reminded us that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And this is where the practice of breaking things down into simpler, more digestible parts can be transformative. And just as you would define a meal without embellishment, you can define a week without unnecessary weight. Don't think of it as a 7-day ordeal. Break it down, focus on today, on the tasks at hand, and approach each moment with clarity and rationality. The ability to live in the present moment without being burdened by the past or future is central to Stoic philosophy. By defining each day as just a day, you free yourself from the overwhelming pressure of time and focus on what you can control in the here and now. When you practice this technique consistently, you begin to transform the way you experience the world. The external things that once caused stress or fear lose their power over you because you're no longer attaching unnecessary importance to them. Instead, you see them clearly and respond with reason and self-control. This is the first step towards your new life. Use the present moment. When you learn to break things down to their most basic components, you begin to see the world with a new level of clarity. Stoicism teaches that by stripping away the layers of emotional attachment, cultural significance, and subjective judgment, you get to the essence of things, and this ability to simplify your view of the world can be applied to life itself. You can break life down into its core elements, events, instants, and actions. This is not only a philosophical exercise, but a practical one that allows you to live more fully in the present moment. Why does this matter? Because life, when viewed in its entirety, can feel overwhelming. We tend to think of life as a series of big milestones, long periods filled with uncertainty or regret. We get lost in the future or the past, worrying about things we can't control or dwelling on moments that have already passed. But when you break life down, Stoicism teaches you that it's really just a collection of instants, each moment containing its own opportunity to live with purpose. This is where the real power of Stoic philosophy comes into play. When you reduce life to its smallest components, you realize that the only thing you truly have control over is the present moment. And within that moment, you can make your actions matter. Every decision, every choice, every small task becomes an opportunity to act with intention, purpose, and virtue. But how do you make each moment count? One of the most profound ways to infuse meaning into the present is by contemplating death. The Stoic practice of reflecting on death, known as memento mori, serves as a powerful reminder of the fleeting nature of life. It's not meant to be a morbid obsession, but rather a tool that confers urgency and value to every action you take. When you remember that your time on this earth is limited, the trivial things that often consume your attention begin to fall away, and you are left with a sharpened sense of what truly matters. When you realize that each moment could be your last, every action you undertake becomes infused with greater seriousness and importance. Suddenly, mundane tasks are no longer just things to get through. They become opportunities to practice virtue, to engage fully with the world around you, and to live with integrity. Contemplating death strips away the distractions that usually cloud our thoughts and brings us back to the present, where real life is happening. Marcus Aurelius emphasized this idea in his Meditations when he wrote, "Do every act of your life as if it were your last." This is not a call to live recklessly, but to live mindfully, to make every moment matter, because in truth, it could be your final one. When you approach life with this mindset, the weight of the past and the anxieties about the future start to lose their grip on you. You become fully engaged in the now, and your actions take on a new level of meaning. But this doesn't just apply to major life decisions, it applies to the smallest, most ordinary moments as well. Whether you're having a conversation with a loved one, working on a task, or simply sitting in silence, each moment becomes an opportunity to live with purpose and clarity. This focus on the present is what allows the Stoic to live a life of peace and resilience, because they are no longer distracted by what has been or what may come. They are grounded in what is. This approach to life transforms the way you see your daily existence. By breaking life down into instants and actions, you remove the overwhelming sense of time stretching out endlessly before you. Instead, you concentrate on what is directly in front of you, on what you can control right now, and in doing so, you make each moment count. The practice of contemplating death serves as a powerful motivator to live well. It reminds you that life is fragile, that time is slipping through your fingers, and that you must make the most of the time you have. This doesn't mean living in a state of panic or anxiety, but rather in a state of awareness and purpose. When you reflect on death, you become more attuned to the preciousness of life, and this awareness brings a new depth to your actions. In Stoic teachings, this understanding of time also helps you to let go of the things that don't matter. The opinions of others, past mistakes, future worries, these begin to lose their importance when you're focused on making the present moment meaningful. You start to see that the only thing truly worth your attention is how you're living right now. This shift in perspective frees you from unnecessary concerns and allows you to live with a sense of calm and clarity. So, how do you apply this in practice? It starts with the simple act of staying mindful. When you catch yourself worrying about the future or regretting the past, bring your focus back to the present moment. Tell yourself, "This is all I have, this moment, right here." By continually bringing your attention back to the present, you train your mind to stay focused on what really matters. And through the contemplation of death, you ensure that you don't waste a single moment on things that don't. You tell yourself, "I have got to make this moment count, for this could be my last." Now, this isn't to fret over death and make each moment gloomy. Instead, it is to allow you to live with a sense of urgency, not in the frantic sense, but in a way that makes each moment meaningful. In this way, Stoicism offers us a path to live intentionally, to make our actions matter, and to find meaning in every instant. By seeing life as a series of moments, each one valuable in its own right, you begin to live a life of purpose, grounded in the present and free from the distractions of past and future concerns. Focus on yourself daily. Just as Stoicism teaches us to break things down to their simplest components, to see them clearly and objectively, it also reminds us of the importance of recognizing the things that cannot be divided further, those fundamental, indivisible truths. The most important of these is you. Amid all the complexity of life, with its distractions, demands, and expectations, you remain the core, the constant, the indivisible center. And because you cannot be divided, you must give yourself undivided attention. This is where true self-awareness and self-mastery begin. To truly change your life, to live with purpose and clarity, you must first learn to focus on yourself daily. You must make sure you always have time for yourself, not just in fleeting moments, but in a way that allows you to nurture your mind, body, and spirit fully. It's not about finding time here and there between your obligations, but about integrating a deep sense of self-reflection into everything you do. You'll know you've achieved this when, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you remain the master of yourself. This is a crucial lesson from Stoic wisdom. You should never surrender yourself to your affairs, to the busyness of life. Too often we allow our work, our obligations, or the expectations of others to consume us entirely, leaving little room for our own thoughts, our own growth. Instead, the Stoics remind us that we should only loan ourselves to our affairs. This means maintaining a sense of autonomy, knowing that while you may engage with the world and its demands, you never lose yourself in them. You always remain in control. But how do you achieve this in a world that constantly pulls you in different directions? The answer lies in how you manage your time and where you place your focus. Seneca reminds us not to hunt for excuses to waste time. We often convince ourselves that we're too busy to focus on ourselves, but this is just a form of procrastination. In reality, we always can think, reflect, and meditate, no matter where we are. This is the power of the mind. You can engage in meaningful, wholesome thoughts at any moment. You don't need to be in a quiet room or on a retreat to practice self-reflection. Your mind is with you wherever you go, capable of contemplating deep thoughts even amid daily life. This is the core of Stoic practice, the ability to carry on your own meditations no matter your surroundings. Marcus Aurelius did this as emperor, managing the Roman Empire while still finding time to reflect on life, virtue, and his own growth. If he could make time for himself amidst the responsibilities of ruling, surely we can too. The idea is to make your thoughts your sanctuary, a place where you can retreat whenever needed, to realign with your true self and values. To truly give yourself undivided attention means using every moment to refine your mind, to focus on your own thoughts, and to ensure that you are always moving closer to the person you want to become. This is why, if you want to change your life in a week, you must focus on yourself daily without fail. 7 days a week, no exceptions. Each day offers an opportunity to engage in self-reflection, to ask yourself whether you are living in accordance with your values, and to make adjustments where necessary. It's easy to lose sight of yourself when you're constantly bombarded by external demands, but Stoicism teaches that the most important relationship you have is with yourself. You must learn to protect that relationship, to ensure that you are always giving yourself the space and time to think, grow, and reflect. This isn't selfishness, it's self-preservation. If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't prioritize your own mental and emotional health, you will quickly become overwhelmed by the pressures of life. This concept of loaning yourself to your affairs also speaks to the importance of boundaries. It's about maintaining a sense of detachment from the things that do not truly matter. Yes, you may have work to do, obligations to fulfill, but they should never take over your life entirely. You should always be able to step back, reflect, and keep yourself grounded in what's truly important. This is why Stoicism emphasizes the importance of maintaining control over your thoughts, because while external events may be beyond your control, your mind remains your own. And remember, your mind is always with you. This is your greatest asset, your most powerful tool. Your ability to think, reflect, and meditate is never limited by time or place. Whether you're walking, working, or resting, your mind can be actively engaged in self-reflection. This is how you ensure that no matter what's happening around you, you stay connected to yourself. You stay in control. So if you want to transform your life, the key is not to wait for the perfect moment or the ideal circumstances. Start now. Start today. Ask yourself, am I at peace the way I am right now? Are my intentions aligned with the common good? Do I have the clarity to take actions appropriate to my lot and station in life? This daily practice of self-awareness ensures you give yourself the attention you deserve. And when you do that, you make real change. Embrace change. If you want to change yourself in a week, the first step is to recognize that change is not something you impose upon yourself. It is something that is already happening all the time. Life, in its essence, is defined by the constancy of change. This is one of the core teachings of Stoicism. Everything in the universe is in a state of flux. We are part of the natural world, and just as everything in nature is subject to birth, transformation, decay, and death, so too are we constantly evolving. By understanding this, you align yourself with the natural laws that govern all existence. Take a moment to reflect on this cycle. Everything that exists is born, grows, transforms, and eventually decays. This process is happening in every living being, every object, and every system around you. When you observe nature, from the growth of a tree to the inevitable decline of the seasons, you see how transformation is not just possible, but inevitable. Human beings are no exception to this rule. We too are born, we grow, we change, and one day we die. Recognizing this universal truth allows you to accept change, not as something to be feared, but as something to be embraced. But it's not just nature's cycle of transformation that you must understand. You must also deliberate on how quickly human nature and behavior change. Human beings are incredibly adaptable, but we are also unpredictable. Think about how often people change their minds, their moods, or their behaviors. Today, someone may be your friend. Tomorrow, they may act as if they barely know you. One day, you're content with your job or relationship. The next day, you feel the need for something different. This unpredictability is part of what it means to be human. Marcus Aurelius reflected deeply on this in his meditations, noting how our emotions, decisions, and desires shift like the wind. This is not something to lament. It's a reminder that we are always in the process of becoming. Recognizing the impermanence of human behavior can help you better navigate your own changes. You're not the same person you were a week ago, a month ago, or a year ago. Your thoughts, experiences, and emotions are always evolving. This understanding gives you the freedom to change yourself intentionally, knowing that you are already in a state of flux. You are not fixed, not rigid. You are capable of transformation at any moment. Next, you must recognize how fickle fortune truly is. Fortune, fate, luck, whatever you choose to call it, can be as unpredictable as human behavior. One day, you may feel on top of the world, and the next, everything could come crashing down. Seneca often warned about the dangers of relying on fortune, reminding us that it can change in an instant without warning. We can't control external events, and we certainly can't control how fortune turns. The key here is not to resist this uncertainty, but to understand that change, especially unpredictable change, is a fundamental part of life. And so, by reflecting on these three types of change, the natural transformation of all things, the unpredictable changes in human nature and behavior, and the capricious shifts brought on by fortune, you begin to see how deeply change affects you at every moment. Once you grasp this, your one-week transformation becomes not just possible, but deeply meaningful. It's no longer about forcing yourself to change, but about aligning yourself with the natural flow of life. In the context of this week-long transformation, understanding the constancy of change brings a new level of power. It allows you to see that the changes you seek are not abrupt or unnatural, but part of a larger cycle that has always been happening. You're simply becoming more intentional about how you change. By contemplating the ever-present forces of transformation around you, you realize that every moment is an opportunity to evolve. Here's where the Stoic practice of self-reflection becomes essential. Each day during this week, take time to reflect on how you have already changed. Ask yourself, how have my thoughts, actions, and attitudes evolved in the past 24 hours? Think about how the world around you has shifted, how the people in your life have adapted to their circumstances, and how fortune has played its unpredictable hand. This reflection grounds you in the reality that change is constant, and it helps you recognize that even small shifts in your behavior or mindset are part of a larger process of growth. This mindset also helps you prepare for the sudden challenges life may throw at you. When you understand that fortune is fickle, you become more resilient in the face of misfortune. You no longer see setbacks as failures, but as part of the natural ebb and flow of life. Epictetus often spoke of this when he reminded his students to focus on what they truly controlled and to accept what lies beyond their control with grace. When you internalize this lesson, you realize that change, especially the change you don't plan for, is simply another opportunity to grow. Ultimately, recognizing the constancy of change allows you to approach your transformation with a sense of fluidity and openness. You no longer view yourself as a fixed entity stuck in a particular way of being. Instead, you see yourself as part of the natural flow of life, always evolving, always becoming. This perspective makes your one-week transformation not just a possibility, but a continuation of the change that is already happening within you. So, as you embark on this week of transformation, remember to focus on yourself daily. Reflect on how each day brings its own changes, some predictable, others unexpected. Accept these changes as part of your journey, knowing that the real power lies not in resisting change, but in embracing it. When you do this, your transformation becomes not a battle against yourself, but a harmonious process of growth that aligns with the laws of nature, the unpredictability of human behavior, and the ever-changing hand of fortune. Focus on what you can control. To truly change your life in a week, you must first learn to focus on what you can control. This is a central principle in Stoic philosophy, and it's a practice that begins with recognizing the boundaries of your own influence. As Epictetus famously said, there are only a few things that are under your direct control: your opinions, your choices, your desires, and your aversions. In other words, the only real control you have is over the functions of your mind, your ability to think, reason, and decide how you will respond to the world around you. Everything else, including external events, other people's behavior, and even the outcomes of your actions, is beyond your control. This might seem limiting at first, but in reality it's liberating. Once you understand that the only thing you truly control is your own mind, you free yourself from the anxiety that comes with trying to control what is beyond your influence. You begin to see that the key to transforming your life doesn't lie in changing the external world, but in changing how you think and how you approach each moment. One of the most powerful mental functions you can regulate to create real change in a short period is the intensity of your attention. When your attention is focused and undivided, it becomes a tool for transformation. By giving your full attention to the task at hand, you eliminate distractions and maximize your efficiency. Think about how often we dilute our focus with unnecessary worries or multitasking. In doing so, we scatter our mental energy and fail to engage fully with the present moment. But when you focus intensely, you bring all your mental resources to bear on what you're doing, making each action more impactful. Stoicism teaches that attention can be sharpened by focusing on the present moment. Too often our minds are caught up in the past or the future, worrying about what has already happened or what might happen next. But when you focus on now, you give yourself the clarity and calm needed to act effectively. This is where the practice of contemplating death comes in, as we've discussed. When you reflect on the fact that life is short and each moment is precious, you automatically give more weight to the task in front of you. You feel the seriousness of every action, knowing that time is limited and that this moment might be your last opportunity to act with purpose. However, attention alone is not enough. You must also focus on your intentions. Your intentions, the reason behind why you do what you do, are just as important as the actions themselves. If your intentions are aligned with virtue and the pursuit of the moral good, then your actions will be clearer, more focused, and less conflicted. When your intentions are pure, you eliminate the inner turmoil that comes from acting out of selfishness, greed, or fear. This clarity of purpose reduces distractions, allowing you to act decisively. Epictetus taught that while we can't control external outcomes, we can always control the intention behind our actions. By aligning your intentions with virtue, you ensure that regardless of whether you succeed or fail in any given task, you'll experience lasting joy and satisfaction. This is because in Stoic philosophy, virtue is the only true good. When you act in accordance with virtue, honesty, courage, justice, and self-discipline, you are living in harmony with your highest self. Such a self redefines success by seeing life as a series of actions. It focuses on the action at hand and gives it all, never fixating on outcomes and accepting failure when it results. For such a self, the obstacle becomes the way. This self experiences a deep sense of fulfillment that external success or failure cannot take away. Consider how much mental energy is wasted on inner conflicts when your actions are not aligned with your values. If you act out of fear or selfish desire, you may achieve short-term gains, but you'll be plagued by doubt, guilt, or dissatisfaction. In contrast, when your intentions are rooted in virtue, your mind is clear. You act with confidence, knowing that whatever the outcome, you have done the right thing. This mental clarity allows you to focus fully on the task at hand, unburdened by conflicting motivations or hidden agendas. So, if you want to change your life in a week, you must focus on these two key aspects of the mind: attention and intention. Your attention should be fully engaged with the present moment, not scattered across unnecessary worries or distractions. By contemplating the brevity of life, you can deepen your focus and appreciate the importance of each moment. This heightened attention allows you to make each action count, bringing more meaning and effectiveness to everything you do. At the same time, you must ensure that your intentions are aligned with virtue. When you act with the goal of being a good person, whether through kindness, fairness, courage, or self-control, you bring a sense of moral purpose to your actions. This not only helps you avoid inner conflict, but also leads to a deeper sense of joy and satisfaction, even if things don't go as planned. Because while you may not always control the outcome, you always control the intention behind your efforts. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom, focusing on what you can control, your mind, and letting go of what you cannot. When you focus intensely on the present moment and act with virtuous intention, you set yourself up for meaningful change. Even in the span of a week, this practice can lead to a profound transformation because you are no longer wasting time and energy on things outside your control. Instead, you are directing all your mental resources toward living with purpose, clarity, and integrity. If you like what we do, feel free to do more by liking and sharing the video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, to the community. How, you ask? By hitting that like button as a symbol of your commitment to change, by subscribing to join a community where wisdom isn't just shared but lived to help us create powerful stuff. And don't forget to hit the notification bell, the gentle chime of a Stoic philosopher, reminding you to return to this space of learning and growth. Each like, each subscription, each notification is a step towards a collective awakening. And if you feel that stirring in your heart, a resonance with the words of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, or Epictetus, share this video. That will help us immensely in continuing to create unique and powerful stuff for the community. Everything changes when you truly hear what Stoicism has been telling us all along. Everything gets better. Your self-discipline, your self-control, your temperance, your cultivation of inner peace and resilience, your self-awareness, your equanimity. You practice forgiveness more often. You stop caring what others think. You start to live with a sense of calm, clarity, and purpose. Even the practice of Stoic principles of the dichotomy of control, negative visualization, memento mori, amor fati, and the view from above gets easier and, more importantly, effective.